everyone, I'm in North Carolina and I wanted to create a short video on the message of Easter. We as Christians celebrate that God came to earth as Jesus. He was born as a human, just like we are, which is the miracle of Christmas, that God came to earth in flesh as a human being. When Jesus was 30 years old, he began sharing the message of the gospel and how we can be saved through him and through him alone. Jesus says, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." He had a lot of supporters, but he also had a lot of animosity and a lot of people that were very upset with what he was teaching, in particular the Jewish leaders, because Jesus called them out and said that they were like whitewashed tombs. On the outside, they were pure and pious. They had these fancy clothes with the long tassels, and they looked very pristine and very religious. But Jesus said that they were rotting and dying inside, that they had no relationship with God, and that they were hypocritical. He said, "You wash the outside of the cup and bowl, but the inside is dirty." And it was the inside that he was concerned about making our hearts clean for God. And so because of this, and because Jesus declared that he was God, ascribing to himself titles that belonged to God, he was called a blasphemer and he was crucified. He was entirely innocent, but he was crucified for our sin. He died on Friday, which we consider Good Friday. And then 3 days later, on Sunday morning, when the women went to the tomb to mourn over the body, they were surprised to see that Jesus was no longer there. And they saw Jesus walking and talking with them. He came back to life, and he was the same Jesus that they had known, which is evidenced by the holes in his hand and the wound in his side, showing that it truly was the same person. And because Jesus is God, he came back to life after he died. He was risen from the dead, and it shows that we too are risen from the dead when we believe in Jesus. We put our hope and our faith and our trust in him. Just like Jesus went into the tomb, we go into the grave. But just like Jesus rose again, so we will rise again in heaven. And this is the victory of Easter, the miracle of Easter, and why we as Christians celebrate it, that our Lord is risen and Jesus is alive, and we have life in him. Jesus says, "Because I live, you also will live. And if a man believes in me, though he dies, he will live."